Hello, it is Saturday night, and the Agilcast is live. And I really wanted to talk about the topic um, when she makes the decision to get a divorce. When she makes the decision to get the divorce, when a woman is fed up, according to Ari Kelly. But is it Ari Kelly and Sparkle? La la la. When the woman's fed up, right? Okay. Um, the reason why I wanted to do this video, uh, a cousin of mine came to visit me today, this evening. I actually met my cousin at my job. It's a small world. I've seen her for 2 years. We never knew each other. I so always see her in passing. She never says hi. Like most black women, she frowns and walks by. Um, so I think was my first COVID shot. I went upstairs to the director's suite. They were giving the shots out there, and I seen her. I think me, my boss, my supervisor, and one of my colleagues went up there and we was getting our shot. So after we took our first shot, you have to sit down for 15 minutes so that they can observe you for any kind of reaction. So I'm sitting down and she's sitting next to me, right? And she's on the phone. And I heard her speak pidgin English. And it was not just the pidgin English that she was speaking, it was how she was speaking it. So I could trace it to that version of pidgin English is pretty much what I grew up in. I'm like, okay. I'm like, she's from around my area, pretty much from the same state in Nigeria. And somehow I just asked her in pidgin English, like, hey, where you from? And she told me she was from Nigeria. I'm like, I know that. I could hear your accent and the pidgin English, the way you're speaking it. And she asked me where am I from. I told her I'm from River State. And she's like, oh, she's from River State too. And she asked me what part of River State am I from. I'm like, I'm Calabari. And she's like, oh my God, I'm Calabari too. She's asked me what town are you from? And I told her I'm from Bacana. She's like, oh my God, you're from Bacana? I'm from Bacana too. And she asked me where's my family compound from. And I told her, and she's like, oh my God, she's from that area too. She has relatives there. So that's how I found my cousin at my job. This world is a small world. I've never met her before. And I called my mom's. I took her family name and I called my mom's, and my mom confirmed it. So that's how I met my cousin at my job, man. This happened during 2020 when the vaccine came out. That's how I met my cousin. We work at the same place, but we don't talk too often. Um, so she's been having some issues in her marriage. I'm gonna try to keep it like light because I don't want to put all of our business out there. But she's been having issues in her marriage. She was gonna go to Nigeria last year, and she was gonna kick off the divorce. And I gave her some advice. I told her, "Look, you're emotional right now. Everything is clouded. Take some time off and see if it's something that you really want to work out." Her girlfriend's already pressuring her she should, pull the trigger and go get this divorce. I'm like, look, I'm not one that will advise somebody to leave their marriage. The only way I'll tell you to leave your marriage is if there's physical abuse, if there's some form of physical abuse, verbal abuse, that needs work. Um, but if there's some form of physical threat, there's a physical threat of violence, and this could happen to by either spouse, man or woman. Uh, Someone is putting hands on you, then yes, I think you can leave. But if it's just other typical things that happens in any kind of marriage, things can be worked out. Unless the other party is not willing to work out. But I usually do not provide advice for people to stay in their marriages or for people to leave their marriages. What I usually do is just provide the information that you need or what I think that you need to hear so that you can make the best informed decisions and choices. Um, Leaving your marriage and just moving on to the next, those has consequences. Um, you'll be surprised. You might be looking for a good outcome, but people don't like to measure outcomes and consequences. What's the cost benefit analysis? This is how I think, or I think most men think, but this is how I think. Sometimes you look at your outcomes, if the benefit outweighs the cost, then you go with the benefits. Of course, there's always trade-offs, there's always opportunity cost. But if the cost outweighs the benefit, then it doesn't make sense, you know. So anyway, she had called me on the phone and I told her, hey, come up to the crib, let's talk. Because I'm pretty much sure you've gone on some kind of crusade, talk to your homegirls. They're pretty much motivating you to pull the trigger on your marriage, but let's talk about it. And I was watching UFC, and anyway, she came. I think we spent about 30 to 40 minutes, not too, we didn't have a long discussion. But there's things that I want to talk about. And this is my cousin. We're not really that close, but we know each other. She went to Nigeria and she took some things that I wanted her to give to my peoples back at home, and I respect her for that. Not that everybody that can do that kind of stuff for you. But anyway, before we I go further into what was discussed, I just wanted to read certain things about what's going on, especially in the black community, but pretty much the United States. So I'm gonna read us an excerpt. This has nothing to do with, well, it's not confined to black people, but just to the United States, and I hope it will make more sense. Then I will bring in my discussion, the discussion that I had with my cousin. The back, man. See my pain doctor. Anyway, according to a study conducted by wflawyers.com, you guys can go check it out, wf-lawyers.com. About 50% of marriages in the United States end in divorce. Let me expand the screen right here. End in divorce. Of those divorces, about 80% are initiated by women. 80% of divorces in this country are initiated by women. Okay. Then, of those divorces, about 80% are initiated by women. That 50% figure is often cited and is likely to be on the high side. I think it's accurate. Um, but is but it is illuminating that 80% of divorces are filed by wives. These statistics suggest that more women are dissatisfied with their marriages, at least to the point of ending them, than men. My marriage, I was divorced twice. I was married to the same woman twice. Yep. And she divorced me twice. hmm And the reason why I took her back the first time was because she was pregnant with our first kid, my daughter. I still wanted to keep the family unit. But women like to leave and go file for these divorces and thinking the grass is green on the other side. Yes, the grass looks green, but the water that they're using watering their grass is expensive, or it's nothing but weeds in their grass. You know, um, I'm not gonna go deep into my situation. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. But when we got separated, I moved to Boston. I was still taking care of her and the kids. One day she had called me while I was at work and she needed my address. I'm like, why you need my address for? You already have my address. She's like, well, I don't have it on me right now. I'm like, okay, why is that important? She's like, I'm in the courthouse. Okay, what are you doing in the courthouse? I'm filing for divorce. I'm like, all right, here's the address. Boom. I her the address. Well, there's other stories, and I don't want to get into that. But you know that she's for how many years? When did I get divorced? 2016, September of 2016, 5 years ago. She's made it a point trying to get me back to remarry her again for the third time over my dead body. Over my dead body. She's made things hard for me just because I won't marry her for the third time. But I don't want to talk about me because one thing I know, she's doing bad. And it's not about money. Wow, I can tell you stories, man. I look at her and then I'm just watching karma just take over. I haven't done nothing to her with all the messed up things that she's done to me. I took it like a G, and now I'm just gonna wait for karma to just do his work. But anyway, I digress. That brought me to into made me reflect a little bit. The line that I just read said these statistics suggest that women are often dissatisfied with their marriages, at least to a point of ending them than men, who may feel the need to continue on with the family union. While some marriages end for very objective reasons, such as physical abuse or addiction, there are undoubtedly many reasons for dissatisfaction that exist. However, husband and his actions or lack of oh, however, the husband and his action or lack thereof play an essential role in causing and maintaining dissatisfaction. This sounds stupid because they're trying to blame everything on the man. Most men don't leave their marriages. I'm not saying that there are not men that are just bums and just not unbecoming of men. I realize that, I know that women find themselves with some difficult men, whether it's physical abuse, whether they are addicted to drugs. These are hard issues. And I understand that. Okay. But however, women pick the men that they marry. You guys are responsible for your choices. This is why the father needs to be in the house. He's supposed to help you vet the men you bring home. That, hey, daddy, this is the man that I'm dating. And let me, as a father, vet this young man to see if he's what's his business, if he's good for you, if he can protect you, if he can provide. What are some of his things that his values? Would I be able to accept him into my family? But single mothers do this? Not really, because single mothers are mostly friends with their daughters. They become sisters. Their daughters become like sisters to them. So they don't really analyze things. And women are emotional. So when they look at things, it's coming from an emotional perspective. At least most women. Men are logical. We look at things, we take off the emotions. At least some men, not all men that have this capacity and abilities to do it. We can look at things, we can spot things. Women know how to spot things too, but in the realm of what women do, women can see things that men can see, and men can see things women can see. We will have our roles. Um. Anyway, let me keep on reading. So, several studies have also concluded that there is a high percentage of divorce initiated by wife in the marriages. Oh God, I can't. Ugh. An investigation completed by Dr. Kyra Bandit. Ugh, blah. An investigation completed by Dr. Kara Burdett from the Institute of Social Research at the University of Michigan followed. Okay, I gotta kill this. About that. An investigation completed by Dr. Kara Burdett from the Institute of Social Research at the University of Michigan followed 355 different couples over 16 years. This is a longitudinal research. This research was done over 16 years. They followed 355 different couples. I don't know if I can do that kind of research. That's a long research. You have to be alive to do a research like this for a very long time, almost a 20-year study. So this study was monitoring marital tensions between each couple, right? The study results were published in the Journal of Development of Psychology. So you guys can go find it there. Google it up. Journal of Development of Psychology. Um, they didn't even put the title of the research here. But if you type Dr. Kyra, Kira Burdett, Birditt, go look for their study. You can go write a name, write monitoring marital tensions. You probably will see the study if you guys are into reading. Um, anyway, the study shows that husband's anxiety can multiply. What eventually tends to result in divorce is tension experienced by the wife. With this, she came to the conclusion that women initiate divorce almost twice as much as men. So remember, I mentioned WFLawyers.com did a study, and Dr. Kyra Burdett did this study. There's another study now. It's my bedtime, but I'm not going to bed early. Let me see. Oh. The American Sociological Association conducted another study which found that women initiate two-thirds of all divorces. This is staggering 69%. They found an even higher rate, around 90%, for divorce initiated by women with college education. So the general study is 69%, but the rate at which women with college degree file at 90%. Hmm. So what exactly are the reasons for these high divorce statistics among women? Why do women initiate divorce more than men? Here are 9 most common reasons why women initiate divorce more than men. Indifference or cluelessness of the husband to their feelings. See, this is becoming BS. Small gesture and reassurance are missing. Money problems. Okay, I agree. Needs not being met at home. Husband who cheat on their wives. Marriage not living up to expectations. Number 6, substance abuse. That one is big. Lack of romance. Physical and emotional abuse. What else? I think that's pretty much it, right? This article, let me see what they wrote here with this one that I disagree on. And I'll tell you the reason why I disagree on that first reason. Indifference or cluelessness of the husband to their feelings. Women seek closeness and vulnerability in marriages where, under the veil of intimacy, it is safe to be real and raw with their chosen one or soulmate. When they get close to that feeling of connection and the husband gives the wrong answer, a brick wall springs up. Then one day the wall gets too high for the husband to penetrate it in its purest form. Women want connection but do not know what they want. So men need to read their minds. That's the problem. Women will say men can't communicate. No communication, no communication. Toxic, toxic. They throw out this word toxic. The relationship was toxic. The marriage was toxic. Meanwhile, you don't communicate. And when you say you communicate, it's not just words that come out from your mouth. 90% of communication is non-verbal. Most people don't even know that. My ex-girlfriend, I kind of like miss her though. But part of our problem was communication, and she always tried to blame that on me. And I'm like, I used to tell her, why you think what do you think communication is? Like, you expect me to read your mind. You need to tell me stuff. You need to tell me what's bothering you. I'll ask you, say nothing. And I keep asking you, keep asking you. I have to always look at your face. I have to like tiptoe, walk on eggshells. When the relationship became like that, I knew the relationship was not going to last. Because the moment you start walking on eggshells dealing with a woman, it's not going to last. And the good thing is that we're not married, so either you change, you adjust, and we move on. Uh, Instead of her doing the work, she decided to move on. Maybe she's thinking, yeah, she told me she's dating now, or she has a boyfriend, new boyfriend now. But she's gonna be like that with her new boyfriend. And I'm not saying that because I'm hating on our new relationship. It is what it is. I want her to be happy. Um, but relationships and marriages is work. It's boring, but it's work. It's like a job, man. If you go to your organization to work, clocking for 8 hours, and all they do is give you instruction and tasks and deadlines, and you following that to the T, why wouldn't you apply that same method, that same mindset in your marriage? Marriage is like a job, full time. It's a lifetime job. It's a full time and a lifetime job. Even when the man is off on his own doing his own thing, and the woman is off on her own doing her own thing, it has to be centered around the big picture of that unification of that marriage. You know, and the one problem that I had with her is like I would try to talk to her in person, and she would want to talk to me, and she goes home and she would send me a Bible text of stuff that she could have easily said in my presence. And this is me. I will always ask her, I'm looking at her face, hey, you okay? All right? What's wrong? Even when we go to bed and she faces the other way and she's shaking her leg and you can feel the tension. I'm trying to like de escalate. I always find myself de escalating or trying to read her mind. It's exhausting trying to read a woman's mind. It's exhausting. Now, I don't know what her problem is. I don't even know the reason why she even broke up with me. I kind of know. I think I know. I think I know, but she never told me. And how will I say it? She doesn't. Women don't come straight up to tell you, "Hey, this is my problem." They do a whole lot of things and expect you to read meaning in this thing and try to come to the accurate conclusion that is in their mind that this is their problem. Come on, it's exhausting. This is why therapy is good. And I'm gonna get back to the story with the discussion I had with my cousin. Therapy is good. Counseling is good, especially um for married folks. For me, why I didn't go to counseling with her because she kept breaking up and coming back and breaking up and coming back, and I kept her setting her back, which was my mistake. The first time, the second time she broke up with me, I could have let her go. The moment that she didn't have her way, I can just see her start. She turns into this new person. Not even a new person. She turned into this person. It kills the mood. It kills the environment. It's like I don't want to deal with it. Even when as a man, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me be a man and try to address this. It's hard. She doesn't want to talk. Then she goes home and she sends me this biblical text, and I don't want to read it. And when she came to try to see how we can work things out, I'm like, hey, you need to change this. This is what I need you to do. Instead of her doing the work, she felt like, you know what, she's just gonna go our separate ways. But good luck to her. I want her to be happy wherever she is. Um, it is what it is. Life must go on, right? Now, my cousin, I was talking to my cousin, I'm like, what's going on? And she's telling me, she brought up some previous stories that she had told me before about the guy being dishonest and the guy is this, the guy is that. I really don't want to talk about her stuff, but because I didn't say her name, it could be anybody anyway. Um, the guy has been a little bit shady. He's been shady. When she met him, she only knew about one kid, and she thought he has only one kid. And as of last year, when I talked to her, now as of this year, she finds out that he has five other kids, and she wants kids, and he doesn't want kids. So there are odds. It's causing a lot of friction and tension in the household. And she went and obtained the divorce form, and she's filling out the divorce. So she came out here and she's on the phone with her friends. She's talking to her friend. I try not to pay attention to her discussion because I was watching UFC, but I could hear some things. And I know when women start talking to their friends, because they get on their friends, their friends get on their emotional level, they're trying to empathize and sympathize in order to make their friend feel good. He's like, yeah, divorce this guy. Guys, is SOB. From what she told me about this guy, I think he's a SOB, but I can't take her word for it. I can't take her word for it. I need to hear his side of the story. It's her side, his side, and somewhere in the middle. But from what she has told me, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. I asked her, "Do you want me to give you an advice?" She said, "Sure." I'm like, all right. Look, I'm not gonna tell you to stay in your marriage or to leave your marriage, but I do find it disturbing that this guy's been extremely deceptive throughout your whole marriage. I asked her, "How long have you known this guy? Have you been with this guy?" She said they've been together for totally of 4 years, and they've been married for three. All right. They met in Houston. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, you didn't know he had five kids? Even that 1 year you guys were dating, how come you didn't vet this guy? You didn't find out his background. I'm like, look, and she's going off and she's saying, well, TJ, I think I deserve this. I've done this and I've done this, I've done this and done that and done this. I've been a wife but he doesn't respect me. The one thing that she wants is a child, and he's not gonna give it to her. And they talked about it before they got married, and he's switching up and that, this and that, and this and that, and this and that. And I kept hearing the word, I deserve this, I deserve, I. I said, look, okay, if you divorce this guy now, my cousin is 39. Your sexual market value in the dating world is low. Dating is trash out here. Plus, you got to hold yourself accountable because you picked this man. Part of the problem you're having right now is the choices you made 3, 4 years ago. You picked this man, you didn't vet him, you didn't find all these things about him. Now you're finding all these things about him in the marriage. Now he's going back on his word. When he first met you and you guys were dating, you guys were going on a high. Love was sweet. When you first meet a girl, there's this high, there's this, it's almost like buying a brand new car. Then the longer the relationship goes, it wears off. Reality sets in. This is where people fail. 80% of marriages are filed by women because women go into these marriages thinking about Disney movies. They have a Disneyfication mindset. And I'm not blaming my cousin. I'm not trying to say, well, it is her fault. She made her choice. She picked this man. And I told her that to her face. And then you picked this dude. How did you ignore to get basic background checks or get basic information about this guy? Okay, things are moving on. What's your plan if you get this divorce? What's the plan? I'm not going to go into deeper details because um just to respect our privacy, even though I didn't say her name. So I asked her, what's her plan? She's like, well, she's gonna get the divorce and she's gonna try to see if she can go back home, like Nigerian, run her business, or she's gonna go back to Houston and get her old job back. And maybe she's gonna get have a child as a single mother. And she's not gonna be dealing with men. I'm like, that don't make no sense. You want to raise a child as a single mother because of what happened to you in your marriage? You're setting the child up for failure. You denying the child the ability to have two-parent household. That sounds selfish. I didn't tell her that though, but I said it in a way that it's not in the best interest of the child you're trying to bring in. What does it even make sense? You think you're just gonna come out here into the dating market with all your traumas and damage, and just go look for another man? Look at the dating. I'm telling you, I'm single. I'm seeing the dating market. It's trash. It's nothing out here. These people have no morals. One thing women have to understand is time is never on your side when it comes to the dating the dating and the sexual market value. The dating market and your sexual market value is time is not your friend, especially for women. It affects women more. You know why? Because men is the market. There's more women than men in the world. There's more women than men in this country. You know what? Let me even use Las Vegas. Ratio of men to women in the city of Vegas alone. Ratio of men to women in Las Vegas. All right. Um, hold on. Nevada number two in the nation in the ratio of, hold on. The 2000 census reported 1 million. I don't know how to pronounce. 103.9 by the number of men by the number of women by 100. Uh, shoot. Let me see. The census report also the Paradise Township near the strip have a nation's third highest male to female ratio. Um, the census area in the nation's highest male to female ratio was Salinas, California. I don't know how they writing these ratio numbers. This male to female ratio is 103.9. The ratio was calculated. No, Give me a freaking ratio, man. Overall, there are about 5.3 million more women. There's look overall there are. This is 2000 census report. Overall, there were about 5.3 million more women. This is 2000, the year 2000. We're in 2021. Okay. Overall, there are 5.3 million more women than men nationwide. Women made up the majority in 73% of the nation's counties. Um, I don't know. The, I hate the way they wrote this. Let me find another one. 5.3 million. Jesus. Uh, ratio. Ratio. I, I don't know about that one right there. Clark County. Let me see what Clark County is saying. We'll go by county instead of the city. So in Clark County, Nevada, there's equal number of men and women in Clark County. That's good. Um, but there's more people moving in from California and other places, so that number has changed. Clark County, Nevada, to significant digits. The total population for Clark County, Nevada, is estimated at 2 million 69 2 million people with one plus 1 million plus males, and men is slightly higher for Clark County. And that might be due to construction, hotel construction and all this stuff. So there might be reasons for that. But nationwide, there's 5.3 million. I thought it was two. There's 5.3 million women more than men. In the city of Atlanta, it's 17 women to one man. So I brought it up. I'm like, what's your prospects for dating? How you gonna plan the end of your life? You're 39. What's your plan? And she's like, well, you don't understand where I'm coming from. She got into this emotional again with women. When I talk to women, the only person that would really I can hold conversation that don't hold emotions is my sister. I swear to God, my sister is different. My mother always come with logic and reasoning, but there's always some emotions tied to it. And me and her will always disagree. And my mother always has to be right. So I'm like, okay, ma. It's very, very rare before my mother would like, okay, I'll see where you're coming from. But my mom she's very logical in her reasoning, but sometimes the emotions are in there. But my sister will sit down and remove the emotions and we'll talk. We'll analyze everything in a logical format. That's the one good thing I like about my sister. She knows how to hold good conversations. So I'm having a conversation with my friend, with my cousin, and she starts attacking me. But I won't say it in a malicious way. She's being defensive, pretty much. But she's like, "Well, you're not understanding where I'm coming from. I felt like I've done this and done that for this man. Well, it's marriage. Marriage is work." She's like, "I'm not happy. Marriage is not about happiness." Hmm? Some of the reasons what is causing their issue, I don't want to discuss about it. But in general terms, I told her, "Look, marriage is work, man. Just like you just got off from work before coming to my house, it's the same principles you need to apply in your marriage. And two, in as much as what you've told me about this fellow, I really don't like it, but it's not my place to tell you to stay with this guy or leave him. But what I'll do is try to give you enough information so that you can make good decision. I'll just give you the information, the pros and the cons. Any decision you make is pretty much pick your poison and you choose that decision. I'm like, hey, you want to go leave? Okay. I'm like, okay, what's your prospect for dating? What's your prospect for end of life? You're gonna be by yourself, you're gonna go find a sperm donor, or you just gonna go out here and just get somebody to get you pregnant, or whatever it is, so that you can be a mother and you just live by yourself with your child. That's not a smart plan. You're coming from an emotional point of view. You're emotional right now. You're talking crazy right now. She's like, okay. I'm like, well, I've heard about. She kept saying, well, you don't understand. You don't understand. I'm not going to help me understand. And she went back into the IDs, IDAT, IDs. This is what I suffer. I'm like, look, I've heard that already. Look, I empathize with you. I sympathize with you. But if I'm going to give you what I'm doing here is just giving you information. I'm not even giving you, I'm giving information so that you can make informed decisions. So you can make the best choice and you know how to move. I'm like, look, what have you done to fix this marriage? Have you guys done enough? You just gonna just leave this man? As much as from what she's told me, I don't know about him. But are you just gonna leave him and just go out there into this trash dating market? It's trash out here. I'm like, she's like, okay, what do you expect me to do? I said, you need to go therapy. You need to go get the individual therapy, and both of you need to go to marriage counseling. Propose that to him. Then, if it doesn't work, you need to find your peace. If your peace is having a divorce, then go get your divorce. But I don't think you've done enough to save your marriage or to work on your marriage. From what I'm hearing is that you're not getting what you want. So you're just gonna go get a divorce. Well, he promised me this, he did this. Well, you picked this man. This is who you picked. You should have seen all this behavior when you first met him. He should have been vetted. Now you're telling me you're just gonna go get a child on your own and deal with no man. You're gonna set that child's future up for failure. That's not fair to the child. She's like, well, because she didn't want to hear what I was saying, she went into shaming tactics. One thing with women, when you're having a conversation with women, most black women, when they don't agree, or when you say something that stings them, the first thing is to shame you. You might even go into insults, or they try to make you feel guilty, or they just want to be right. Sign language. Okay. In this case, she shamed me. She's like, well, I don't need therapy. I'm not a kata. I don't even want to say what the meaning is. She's like, I'm not a kata. Then she's like, well, you have turned a kata. That's why you're recommending therapy. I'm like, what's the need for all this shaming? She's like, well, I'm not shaming you. I'm not insulting you. I'm like, yes, but you did. It might not be malicious intent, but you just shamed me when I just gave you information. I just gave you information. What does me being like a kata has to do with the information that I just gave you? You see, you just proved my point. You're emotional, you're damaged. Now you're gonna take this damaged individual, this after you divorce him, you're gonna take this damaged individual, your damaged being, into the dating market for other men. Let other men suffer from the sins of this man. Are you serious? Then she kept quiet. This is the problem that is going on in our community on a larger scale. And this is just my cousin. Um, but anyway, she didn't take my advice. It was passing through her ears, but I said what I said, and I wish her the best. I'm always gonna be here if she needs me. But I just wanted to talk about this little story, and maybe I'll do another video because I don't want it to be more than 45 minutes. So I'm gonna end this video right now. and maybe do a part two, maybe tomorrow or maybe tonight if I feel like it. And I think this conversation makes a lot of sense now. I'm creating a picture. I hope I stimulated you guys' minds. And watch out for part two of this video. Thank you, and I am out. End stream.